And you guys are okay with me recording?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So this will be for those of you who have been following in the fast. This is like remember I've said that this is taking me a while to process. The 5 days of not eating and reintroducing food into my body, all of that has been a process for me. But this journey did not start by itself. I wasn't by myself when I started this journey. I had some partners in this journey that we called the Fastcation. So this is my Fastcation support group, Victoria and Alejandra. And so I just thought, let's recap for people who want to know, what was our experience like, the good, the bad, the ugly, because we didn't keep anything from you. We wanted to make sure that you knew, when things were difficult, if we were tired. The one thing, and I don't know if, and I'll ask you, Alejandra, first, and then Victoria, you can answer. But have you seen other people's fasting videos, and and what was your experience from their experience? Did you think that you would ever want to do it?
Yeah, I have seen a lot of videos actually, but it was just the end of their fast, and they were explaining everything. But this was a totally different experience because every day we were checking in, every day we were posting a video, and I would go back and watch them, listen to Dr. Clapper. And so I learned more from doing this. Even though I felt I was pretty knowledgeable in fasting, I was not.
You're an expert. You're an expert faster.
Yeah. No. So it was helpful to do it like this, together along the way, post the videos, go back, watch them, rather than watching a video of somebody explaining their results. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of things that happen along the way that are missed when you just do a video at the end, mm-hmm. saying, this is what I did, this is what happened. So I think we were able to catch a lot of little things along the way better this way.
Good, good. And so what about you, Victoria? Because you've also fasted before. I'm the only one that hadn't fasted.
I have, but just a few times. And I really have not watched any videos or anything, and I really didn't know what to expect. But I did know that I had a few thoughts on water fasting, things that I thought it might be able to help, which the first thing would be my mental clarity. I just felt like I was in a brain fog all the time, and I would lose my train of thought. And I just had some emotional things that I was dealing with too, that, relationships that needed to be mended. And before I could, and then once I got all of that back, I wanted to have just have an increase in my spiritual knowledge, my connection with God. And I wanted to improve my relationship with food. And I also needed to improve my sleep. So those were things that I were expecting to change, hoping it would change.
Now, you had seen other videos before, and you thought that from watching those videos, that was your expectation.
Well, yes. Yeah, I have watched a few videos, and those are some things that I was hoping would.
Yeah. And the same thing for me, and you guys are free to ask me any question that you want as well. But the same thing for me, I had seen videos before of people going through fasting, but they look so weak and feverish and cold-like, flu-like symptoms that I never thought, that's not something I want to do. I didn't want to. Like, I got up every morning and I got dressed and I put on makeup, and I because that scripture verse that we shared with one another at the beginning, I don't know if that made any difference, but which is, if when you're fasting, don't look like you're fasting, and so I
really embraced that.
Yeah, go ahead, Alejandra, go ahead.
Yeah, I really embraced that scripture. Like, it just kind of stayed with me. And the second day after you told me that you'd put on the oils in the morning, I did too. I was like, oh, I've got some almond oils and tea tree oil and lavender oil. So I just put on all kinds of oils, and tell you what, the mosquitoes were not landing on me at all. But I really embraced that scripture. Yeah. And you're right. A lot of people look sickly when they're doing this. And I looked nobody even thought I was fasting because I looked, great. So yeah, I embraced that.
Well, there's something that happens to me, and I don't know if you've experienced it, and Victoria, I don't know if this is the first time you've ever done videos, because you went from, I don't know if I even want to do this, to I feel really comfortable. It happens. It's a progression thing. And so, but there's something that I would always say that happens in the studio. When we used to do the show in the studio and I couldn't do it from my home, my home studio, when I had to go over there, I would say, oh, this is just something magical. The energy of the room or whatever it was, it just fed me. And I feel that the same equals to when I'm doing a YouTube video or a Facebook Live, the energy of the people who are watching, the people who are wishing me well, that permeates with me as well. So even if I mustered all my energy to do the video, I knew that after the video was done, I needed to kind of put it back on like this even gear where don't overdo it. So because to me, I've seen too many people, like, for example, I grew up, well, my nieces and nephews were in track. My daughter's a pole vaulter. So we would see all these kids, racing all the time. And there would always be one that would shoot out of the race. And, oh my God, he was like going to break a world's record. He was going so fast. And then all of a sudden there you see them like going, and so I knew it had to be slow pace, slow and even, and it needed to continue on that pace if I wanted to make it. And in my mind, I needed to keep my energy, and that I would save it because I think I did 3 shows that day. Plus we were doing Dr. Clapper, we're doing shows with you. So I had to make sure that I would have the energy. Yeah. So when the 5th day came, I was like, I'm in bed. I don't have to do a show. I don't have to do. It's like, your body recognizes those things. Now, I will start with you this time, Victoria. Did you feel yourself listening to your body more? What was different this time than it was in the past, or was there any different from your past?
This time, I went into it, I just wasn't in a good place when I went into it. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't sleeping. I was retaining water. So I went into it feeling bad. And so I was...
let me ask you a real quick question. Had you prepared for the fast by eating only fruits and vegetables, no processed foods going into it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. No, what about you, Alejandra?
For like 1 day.
Okay, let's go back to Victoria.
1 day. Yes, that was me, 1 day.
Okay.
So I was eating terrible things the weekend before. So I was feeling it.
Okay. But you lasted just as long as you had in the past, right?
Yeah. Well, I had broke my fast during the 3rd day. So I did complete my 3rd day on this fast.
You were like, it was like at 2:00 in the morning, day.
Yes.
4. So you made it to day.
I made it to day 4. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what would you say was different this time than in the past? I know that you went in it, perhaps, had you done that in the past where you went in it like cold turkey, you didn't prepare for it?
Yes, I did not prepare for it.
Either one?
No, I was a big coffee drinker back then and went into it I had just had a headache the whole time and felt really bad the whole time.
Oh, you see, I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Not anymore. What about you, Alejandra?
I'm off and on, but I broke myself from it a while ago because I just didn't want to be hooked on anything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I enjoy a cup of coffee here and there, but not daily.
Mm-hmm. So what was different this time going into this fast compared to some fasts in the past?
For me, I've always done it by myself. I've always tried to fast, and I consistently only made it to about 32, 36 hours. And it was on my own. This time it was different because I felt like we were doing this together. So the sense of the community and getting on the calls every morning, that helped tremendously. And I felt like there was a lot of support there. And not that you guys were pushing me to do it, but there was definitely some accountability there towards you, towards myself. I that made it different. And I consistently, as I told you, I only made it ever to 36 hours, 32, 36 hours was my max. And this time I exceeded that and I went to 72, I think. So that was a huge breakthrough for me. And I know that it was because of the support. That's, for me, that was the factor that was different, rather than doing it by myself.
Very good. Very good. And I know that I've shared a lot during my videos as well of, the mindset and how special it was for me to start this off and kick it off with you. I wasn't just accountable to me. I was also accountable to the two of you and accountable to all who would be watching. It's, I think it's easier behind closed doors to be less accountable on ourselves. And so if there was a lesson for me, is the importance of numbers, the importance of camaraderie, the importance of, having a group. Like, I would love to do this in Florida with people that, like, not even in Florida, maybe just do a group of people, and we can do this together. We've heard the words of Dr. Clapper. We can take these videos and listen to them over and over and over again. Yeah. And kind of like, okay, do another one, but this time maybe next year. I don't know if I'm going to do this again. I need to gain my weight back, and which I still haven't started gaining, because I made a commitment that I want to just continue to eat as long as I can, just all raw, not raw, but whole food, plant-based, and not fall back into eating some chips here and there. And I'm not saying I'm committing to this always, but I'm aware of how easy it is for processed foods to creep up back into our life. It's like you buy one bag of chips, and the next thing you know, you open up your pantry. It's like, oh my God, when did they multiply? So with that in mind, it's like that accountability that you talk about, Alejandra, is so important. So let's talk about, okay, so you guys went through the 3 days, the 72 hours or whatever hours that you did. What did you learn about yourself during this time? I don't know which one of you wants to start first.
I can go. Okay. So I say I love myself, right? But I realized that I wasn't loving my body by taking care of it. And I saw the difference of the way I felt, the way my clarity, the way I spoke, even in my energy. My energy levels were kind of up and down. Like, when I was focused on something, it was great. I was so clear. I was like, I've never been so focused in my life. But then when I was not, kind of just going from one thing to another, I would feel, tired. Yeah. But I just loved that I noticed the difference. I saw it. And I'm like, wow, this is so good for me. This, like, all these good things are happening in my body. Why don't I want this for myself all the time? Like, what is happening that I'm abusing my body with food, with alcohol, with not exercising, not being disciplined to my meditation or my yoga? I say I love myself, but yet I'm not showing it. It's just words. So I had to really sit with that. Like, do I feel like I don't deserve it? What is going on? And I haven't quite found the answer yet, but I know there's been a shift for me. And now everything that so ever since then, I'm being careful about what I'm eating, what I'm doing. I'm very aware of it. So I'm like, I deserve more than this. And my body does too. My body has carried me all this way. Like, why would I abuse it? So I'm still sitting with that question, but there has been a shift, huge shift for me. So now, I'm doing the walks, I'm doing the meditation, I'm, eating clean, no processed food, because that's what I deserve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes we expect others to do that for us, but when we do it for ourselves, we can certainly count on it being done, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Victoria?
Well, I just realized just what an unhealthy relationship that I had with food, and how it affected my whole life, and physically, like I mentioned earlier, my mental clarity and brain fog that I was constantly in, and toxic relationships, and I found that I can do this, and I want to do it again. I'm excited about the future, and
Do you want to share anything about the clarity that you're experiencing today? I mean, are you from after the fast, has that clarity continued, or did things
it
come up for
has.
you that you were able to deal with? What happened?
It has. Even during the fast, when my body was just weak, and I think about day 3, where night 2, Alejandra and I had the nightmares and just restless sleep, and then that day 3, I just was ready to give up. And then after talking with you girls, I just thought, okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
But my body, I could just feel my body was just getting really weak, but my mind was still clear. And I just did a lot of meditation and praying and thinking about a specific relationship that I have that has not been good for a while, and just healing from that. And that is what I spent a lot of my time, praying about. And during that time, I was able to let some things go and have forgiveness for this person. And they don't have anything to do with it. It was just all me. They're the same, but I'm different. So I just want to reach out to this person, and I just want total healing. So I'm really encouraged about that.
And you're thinking that by allowing your body not to digest food, it gave you the ability to realize that that's what came to the surface.
Yes.
And you were able to deal with it.
Yes, I was.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And how many times in our lives, and when we think about our relationship with food and what's happening, but when food could be a distraction. There's so many distractions in our lives. And I mean, if you turn on the television and you look at the political distractions that are out there, the vaccination distractions that are out there, the hate this person, love this person, there's so many distractions out there. Then we have food in our body, which, if you think of our body as the equivalent of turning on the television, we are creating distractions for ourselves. And I noticed that about me too, that when you eliminate food and your cells are present to be there and repair and help you, all the stuff that, it's like that, the story of, I think I shared this with you privately, but the story of the goldsmith and how the impurities are scraped off the surface. The fire gets intensified and the impurities get scraped off, and those are our impurities. As we allow ourselves to listen to our bodies and those impurities come to the surface, we can just ignore them, or we can say, whoa, I needed to deal with this. I need to release it. Here we go. Boom. And you start releasing one by one. And it's amazing the shift that will happen with anyone who starts dealing with these things that start coming up. Like Alejandra, I think it's great that you are sitting with these things. This is your opportunity to scrape things off so that if you're ever heated in fire like the gold is, your impurities were going to be different. They're going to be less and less. And so many people are afraid to deal with whatever it is that they're avoiding, but they drag it around like a sack of potatoes, 20, 50 pounds sack of potato everywhere you go. Talk about exhausting.
Right.
More exhausting than having to deal with whatever comes up during this time, and then release it. Look
Yeah.
at, and the goldsmith knows when they're done with the purification of the gold, when they see their reflection looking back. When you can look back and see that purity, that the person that you were intended to be, you know, to be able to see you for the first time after all the distractions, after all that stuff. Isn't it great?
Yeah. Yeah. That is amazing.
Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
Who would have
Yeah.
thought? Okay, so anything else that you'd like? Would you like to add to anything, Alejandra, to anything that Victoria just said, or did it resonate with you? Or
No, I wanted to make sure that I thank Dr. Clapper. His sessions with you and watching them, I learned so much, and he was so good about addressing every single point along the way. And he didn't, make anything seem trivial, like, oh, it's nothing. He addressed everything and had an explanation as to why. And I love that. And that, I think, also helped me carry through as long as I did, because before, when I would feel even the slightest little quease or this or that, I'd be like, oh, it's time to stop. Yeah, it's time to stop. And this time I knew, okay, this is happening because of this. And this is what I need to do to kind of push through it.
Yeah.
So I think had I not traveled and done all that other stuff, if I would have stayed home, I would have been just fine.
Yeah. So that's my next question. Okay. So, in the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom, we are all about taking 100% responsibility. And what would be different? So, the first question is, how did I create it? Second question is, what are the gifts and lessons? And I think we've already talked about the gifts and lessons. How did I create it? We chose to do the fast with the gifts and lessons. I think you guys have been very beautifully articulate there to share your experience. I've also shared my experience as well, in other videos. And then the third question is, what's going to be different? So let's say you have an opportunity to do this again. What would you do differently?
Oh yeah, just cancel everything for 5 days.
Yeah, I would even cancel it. I don't know. Maybe the show was good for me to be able to, at least I have a reason to get dressed and, I don't know. But but go ahead.
Yeah, cancel everything. And I like to think that I can do everything. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you need to just do one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so that was a big lesson for me too.
Multitasking is a lie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so differently, it would be like a true fastcation, like as if I was away.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need to disconnect from everything and just really just take that time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then just going forward, I've continued to eat well and to, love my body and to take care of it as if I truly loved, as if it was a, like I love my kids. I love, my dog, and I take care of them. So I'm going to take care of myself in that manner as well.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Victoria?
And for me, the preparation, I think, is a big thing, and I needed that. And he said 3 days up to a week, really before. And I think, better preparation. And I know what to expect now to go into it, and I'm encouraged, and I really want to do a 5-day fast. But he also mentioned, just working up to that, 1 day and 2 days and 3 days. So that is my plan. And then I want to share my experience with people, and they're still like, that's not very healthy and you shouldn't go that long. My body says I needed that, and I feel like a different person. I didn't complete it, but I went as far as I could at the time.
No, you did complete it. Remember, we committed to 1 day at a time.
Yes, we did.
We committed to 1 day at a time, 5 days in a row. And each morning we would make that commitment. And interestingly enough, you waited until 2:00 in the morning to break fast. You did not commit to day 4.
No, I didn't. And I wanted to for 5 hours. I just, should I or should I not? And if I had someone to talk to, I probably would have toughed it through, but I was afraid.
Oh, I wish you would have texted me.
Yeah.
Not in the, well, you guys were probably awake at the time, but yeah.
No shitting on
I
ourselves.
really wanted
but yeah, I mean, it worked out the way it needed to work out. You know, each one of us got whatever we needed to get out of it. And I think that what I'm hearing from the both of you is that it was just as a positive spiritual experience as it was for me. And I'm sure many others that will choose to do this and take this journey. Any words of wisdom that you'd like to share? Like, were you hungry at all? Anything that you did not expect that happened, or that you expected to happen but didn't happen, like hunger or whatever?
No, I wasn't hungry the whole time, but I could feel at the time I broke the fast that my body was needing something. Yeah. But I continued the last 2 days with you. I continued just to mostly drink water and have watermelon a couple of times a day. So I kind of continued in the fast, but I did have the watermelon.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, listen, breaking fast, you know, it's so funny. I told my husband, I'm less hungry when I don't eat than when I eat.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you like, Alejandra, was that the same for you?
Yeah. So I didn't feel hungry at all. It was the mind thing that I had to overcome. I had to think greater than my mind was trying to think at the time. And so that was a big challenge, but you know, so like hunger, never felt it. You know, I kept trying to trick myself saying, I feel it in my throat. A couple minutes would pass and I'm like, I'm fine. But yeah. So
what's that? What? Nah.
Is it something? Oh no. But yeah, no, it was a great experience. You know, doing it with you guys, with Dr. Clapper, definitely with you, Victoria, I'd love to try it again. And this time, you know, shoot for a 4th day and then maybe the 5th day will come. But I've continued to feel great since the fast. I've, you know, I've done time restricted feeding to where I've really only eaten 1 meal a day. And surprisingly, like, I'm active, I'm working, I'm going. It's all I need. So this notion of I need to eat every 2-3 hours, like this, it's just, for me now, it's out the window. Even the snacking is cut out. And even if it was on something healthy that, you know, I said I justified it because it was healthy, that's cut out too. So, and I'm, mostly water. Well, actually all water, and the Pellegrino, I've stayed with that, but yeah, so I've been able to maintain somewhat, and I've seen the results from it too. I still have the clarity. I don't need a lot of sleep. Like, I'm actually fighting to stay in bed sometimes, but like my brain is up and it's like, get up, get up, get up.
Yeah.
Like,
great lesson, right? That was something that I was not expecting, which is the energy at the oddest times.
Right? Yeah,
that's
I
true.
sat back in awe watching you just continue to go, and the energy that you had, and it was just encouraging.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, Lillian, you were amazing.
Yeah,
thank you. It was, you know, when it was time to have my like on the 5th day, I was in bed all day, and I shared that on my video. I was in bed all day, with the exception of making my video with Dr. Clapper. I was in bed all day. I treated myself. Some people feel like some people subconsciously get sick to take time off. I want to be healthy and take time off. So that was a realization. I very seldom, I'm healthy. I very seldom get a cold or anything. I take enough vitamin C to like I have this shield around me with all the vitamin C that I take. But one of those things was, you know, but going into knowing that the 6th day was my it was like my Easter Sunday. It was
Yeah.
resurrection. And I remember holding this bowl of colored water, basically full of vitamins and nutrients, and having that first bite of the food was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only
emotional, you know, and I felt what you were feeling, and just to see, it just meant a lot to me to sit there and watch that. I appreciate you recording that for me.
I went back and forth on that one. I didn't, you know, and the goal is to share it so that people would feel empowered. I feel the clarity. Do you still feel the clarity, Victoria? Because Alejandra is.
Yes, yes, I do.
I am so focused right now. And when I get up, because what I would have done is if I'm a little tired, I'll just go lay down instead of going into the kitchen and eat mindlessly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's been a shift in me, in my behavior for now. You know, I need to continue to be mindful, continue to be reminded, because it's really easy to fall back in old behaviors.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not even allowing the process to come in, because, you know, I tell a story of how, and I was about to tell you this, Victoria, before Alejandra came on, is I was a sugarholic. People don't understand. I love sugar so much that I remember going on a cruise, and there was this guy doing cotton candy, and it was 5 feet tall on this little wand. And I was like a proud 2-year-old walking around the cruise, and I ate the entire
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
I may have lost 10 years of my life because of that moment, but I'm trying to make up for it. But that is the kind of life I had. But I ate very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't eat beef. I didn't eat this, and I didn't eat that. But I didn't realize that there were other terrorists that were coming into my temple.
Right. Right.
And, you know, you allow one, then you go, oh, come on in. You know, it's like, how do you discern which one do you allow, which one you don't allow? So, you know, I used to practice the 80-20 rule. I think now I'm going to go to the 90-10 rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I'm at, you know, I can't be so rigid to say, oh, I can't have this or I can't have that. But I need to learn how to shift.
Yeah.
To get back onto what I want for my body. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It just, for me, the 72 hours alone was enough to kill the sugar taste. So I tried having, I think, some ice cream, and I didn't like it.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet.
Yes.
And now I find that blackberries and strawberries are enough to satisfy when I do want something sweet, and I'm trying to eat it with a meal, not by itself. It's enough to satisfy the sweet, you know, craving or whatever that I have. And I can't do the the truly sweet stuff, because it was too overpowering for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to share a recipe that I do, and I've modified it many times, and I'll make it, you know, lesser fat or more fat, depending. I'll put an avocado if I want more fat, or if I'll put some cashews in it. But when you have, I try not to throw my vegetables away or my fruit. And so when you buy bananas in Florida, you know, when it starts getting that leopard spotted, you know, you could put it in your refrigerator and it'll last a couple of days. But then after that, you know, you just, once it gets a little bit more spotted, I just peel it, put it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in the freezer. And I'll make a wonderful, wonderful night. I call it nice cream, and I think other people call it nice cream as well. I take 1 banana per person. Sometimes I do 2 bananas per person, so I have some extra, because I love desserts. I love to eat, but I have refabricated the desserts because I know I have a sweet tooth, and so I'll take bananas. And I'll add mojule date, and I'll add some cherries frozen. And these are all organic, frozen. So the bananas start fresh, and then they become frozen. the bags of blueberries or strawberries or cherries, I buy them at bulk from, the Costco's or Sam's or BJ's. I'll give all three of them, because they do a really good job, and you get this big bag for like, $12, that if I were to buy $12 worth of strawberries, it might be that much. And then I take it and I add to it with the module dates and then unsweetened coconut milk. It is the best. And if you want to put some unsweetened shredded coconuts on there, if you want to make it creamier, add avocado, half an avocado in there.
Do you blend that?
Yeah. In the blender, yes. And get a high-speed blender. I don't know, other brands, but the brand I use, I'm not going to share the brand. I'll share it with you off the air. But when you blend that, it is so creamy, so good. And whatever's left over, put it in a glass bowl, stick it in the freezer, and about 5-10 minutes before you go to whatever, do you want to eat it, 5-10 minutes, it's soft enough where you can cut it, you can serve it, you can eat it again. So there's no process. Oh, did I say module date? So you need to make sure you take the seed off the module date. Yeah. And if you want to do chocolate, you can do cacao, carob. If you want blueberries, just add blueberries. If you want strawberries, add strawberries. You can do a whole, so to me, that is such a wonderful treat. My grandchildren love it. If you add a little bit more milk to it, then you can make a milkshake. And when I'm talking about milk, I'm talking about whole food plant-based, like coconut milk or even water. So that right there becomes such a wonderful dessert that you will try ice cream in the future and you'll go, that's not real.
Yeah.
So anyway,
my taste buds did not like it.
little bonus from listening at the end of the. Okay, is there anything that you guys want to add before we close this is our last time meeting as our Fastcation group, but you know what? We can do this anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I'm grateful to you for opening it up to the audience and to your listeners to be able to participate with you. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to Victoria too for being so raw and so open and sharing as well.
Oh, thank you both. Yes. I'm going to do this. One day a week, I'm going to fast. And then, like you said, I'm going to work my way up and I'm going to do a 5-day fast.
Good for you.
It started out a Fastcation, but it ended in a rest station for me. I was able to rest and my body was able to rest, and I'm just really encouraged and can't wait to the next time.
I love it. I love it. And I want to thank the two of you, because without the two of you, I wouldn't have had my support group. Dr. Clapper was wonderful. But to know that you guys were experiencing it with me was invaluable. So I want to thank you for not only being a part of this, but agreeing to be videotaped as well, so that other people can learn from what we went through and maybe feel empowered to do this for themselves, along with the guidance for Dr. Clapper. Day 1 through day 7 we have. And even after 24 hours after I started eating, he still said, I want to be there for you. And
wonderful.
Yeah, he's just an unbelievable man. And I want to encourage all of you to watch the videos with Dr. Michael Clapper. And hopefully if you like this, let us know, share it, like it, help the classroom grow. Even, every time we get to do something new, we get to learn how to do something else. We get called to do something else. So thank you guys. And thank you for watching and for your support as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say bye-bye, ladies.
Bye.